My wife took her test at the end of 2018 in Denver and had participated in an oath-taking ceremony with other candidates in Grand Junction in the beginning of 2019. I tried to do the Organo Gold coffee business in 2014 because of the motivation of chatty and friends, Samuel Mbainayel and Jean Nengandingham, and that was an adventure. The manager of All Sports Replay authorized me to set up my coffee table by his bike shop. The trial did not last because of the cold spell. I asked the businessman downtown to give me space to sell my coffee, but with no satisfactory result. Finally, my barber Kevin Coblin said yes to my request, and I used a corner of his barber shop for my sale. A few customers bought it, but not enough for a good business project. He and his friend advised me to go out from time to time in other shops with hot water in a thermos, as my coffee was instant. Those who were interested could buy it. Many shop managers were adamant, no soliciting. The effort was not successful. The discouragement was beginning to take a hold of me. Winter was coming to its end, and I decided to thank Kevin and shut down the business at the barber shop. Some people were interested in the quality of the coffee, and they continued ordering it whenever their supplies ran out. My failure in this business made me think again about studying. I enrolled at the Community College of Denver, CCD, to study business. Classes had to be online because I lived in Gunnison, and the college was in Denver. The computer I had was not working well, but Robert gave me one that worked. Whenever I had a problem, I would bring it back, and he would fix it for me for free. Ann and Robert were also good friends in Gunnison. They also supplied us a lot with produce from their garden. I was very grateful to the managers of the Gunnison Public Library while studying online, for allowing me to do proctored testing in their premise. With the help of God, I finished my studies for the associate degree in business in May 2017. The diploma was to try to restart another business, but which one? No idea had come up. At the end of 2017, new thoughts animated me. I told myself that I would risk starting to pay back my federal loan for the degrees that I would never use if I lived in Gunnison. I thought about moving with my family and going to Denver if I could do the nursing program. I applied for the mortgage, and I was eligible. My condition of carrying out the house search was linked to obtaining a permanent job as a CNA either at the hospital or at the nursing home. No employer responded. Tired of waiting, I said living in Grand Junction had to be the second option because Colorado Mesa University had an excellent nursing program too. Continuing to pray for divine guidance, I applied to 2 hospitals, Community Hospital and St. Mary's Hospital, and a nursing home, Genesis Mesa Manor. By faith, I also changed the Denver loan officer with Ashley, who was working at Grand Junction Fairway Mortgage Company, and she found for us the buyer broker Sarah. We made a couple of trips to inspect the first homes she offered. None were satisfactory, so we went back to Gunnison, and I was telling Florence that we would risk renting rather than buying a house. When my loan officer heard this, she said to me, "With the number of people you had in your household, it was better to buy than to rent a house." It was truly a commendable idea, and I had not regretted accepting it. I did my own research and found the house online at 671 Faircloud Way, Grand Junction, Colorado 81504. The buyer broker appreciated my choice. The real steps began without any doubt or hesitation. In early February 2018, Community Hospital and Genesis both responded and asked me to come in for the interview on a date of my choice. I chose the same date but different times. My wife decided to come with me. My first interview was with Community, as it was in my human wisdom that I wanted to work there to benefit from my hospital experience. At the end of the interview, the staff who welcomed me told me that they would call me afterward to tell me the result. We rushed for the other interview at Genesis. Officials Paul, Brenda, TJ, and Loretta were at the interview. I answered their questions, and at the end, they asked me when I wanted to start working. I told them that I had to respect the 15 days of resignation notice according to the job rule. Very happy, my wife and I left for Gunnison, and the next day, I officially deposited my notice to quit the job. I communicated to the HR of Genesis the date of March 1, 2018, as the first day to start at their facility. The people of SCC, staff and residents were at the same time happy for my nursing program project and sad for my quitting plan. A big farewell party was offered to me in recognition of the good collaboration and the work for almost a decade, December 2008 until the end of February 2018. Robert, during the party for goodbye, he said, "When you get your nursing license, come back here." Ex-administrator Wade Baker, "Let us get started here. This is an easiest invitation. 9 years ago a young man came to Gunnison from Africa. Couple years later he was able to bring his family. I was administratorial work here as a CNA and you have done it so well. As Robert said, if you go and get your nursing degree, you are welcome to come back. We build you a new building. Audience laughed. 9 years you did a wonderful service to our residents. Thank you Nuba. Loud acclamation. Ex-Director of Nursing Prudy Mitchell. When Nuba came to the job interview with me in December, he sent the application and I called him for the interview. I just want to express to you what happened to me that day. I closed my door after our appointment. I got on my knees and I just sobbed. I really did, because I have never met in my entire life somebody so humble and, indeed, we had been recipients at this nursing home facility. All of us, not only resident and staff, families and our wonderful vendors. Nuba, we can't thank you enough for coming to minister to us. You were an unbelievable mentor to all of us. Supervision and manager, we learned so much from you. Your dedication, your love, and your mercy help a lot in our business. We wish well success, you and your family. I know this is hard for you because you are quite part of our family. But there are going to be so many out there to benefit in their organization. If God wants it, you will be back with us. Too much joy, too much happiness. We wish you well, love you, we can't thank you enough. As I said, she finished by the song, for he is a jolly good fellow, X3, which nobody can deny. The CEO Robert, Human Resources Director Christina, Ex-Administrator Wade Baker, and Ex-Director of Nursing Prudy Mitchell were present, along with other staff members. Many thanks to Andrea, Tyler, and others who were the main organizers. At the end of the party, I said goodbye to everyone and left the building with gifts and the promise made by the organizing team to send me more in the days to come, and they did indeed keep their promise. Speaking of gifts received, they were countless, like the stereo given by Jim and Missy, not to forget Jim's mom, who loved me very much until her death. Beth and Jackie bought me a video camera and another family gave me a camera. These effects still exist as a commemoration. On February 28, 2018, I left Gunnison to come to Grand Junction. As I booked my stay at the Travelodge Hotel for 13 days, I moved there to start working on March 1, 2018. After a few days of orientation with a former certified nurse assistant, CNA, Eva, I was starting to master the routine. I would come back to Gunnison on weekends because I missed my family and church. The steps to complete the home purchase had accelerated, but with some last-minute surprises. The loan officer was asking me for more than $5,000 out of pocket. I did not have the amount, but luckily, a nice gentleman from Grand Junction and the couple Jack and Amy from Gunnison lent me their money. March 13, 2018, was maintained for the closing. Another surprise occurred on March 12. The loan officer told me that the underwriter, when finalizing the accounts, said that I had to bring $3,000 in the form of money order on the day of closing. It was a dilemma, as I was at the end of my hotel stay, hoping to sleep in my house the next day, and suddenly, I was asked not $300 but $3,000. The loan officer advised us to borrow the money from the payday loan. She asked and was told that they could not lend more than $1,000. I made some phone calls to some people, but they told me that they did not have the amount of money requested. My wife and I went to our bank, Bank of the West. The Grand Junction branch manager said he should contact the Gunnison branch to give us the answer. After his contact, he came back to say his apologies because Gunnison branch said no to the loan. Confidently, I said to the manager, "Don't apologize, our God will give us the $3,000 for the closing today." My confidence was based on Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We left the bank with the idea of going to a restaurant to get something to eat. After I parked, I told my wife, "I'm going to call Gifford from Gunnison." As the phone rang, Gifford answered and told me he was driving out of state. Without delay, I had gone straight to the point. "I need $3,000 today for the closing of our house and that I will pay you back as soon as I have the expected money in a week." He replied, "I'm going to call Elena, my wife. She will call you. Then tell her how you want to receive the money." I thanked him and let him continue his journey. I instructed Elena to transfer the $3,000 to my account. We went in another Grand Junction branch to withdraw it in the form of money order before the time indicated for the closing. The loan officer called to check if I got the money, so with dignity, I said yes, and she said, "See you soon." The closing took place, and as all my belongings were in my car, hoping not to go back to the hotel, we came directly to the house to officially spend our first night on March 13, 2018. Within a short period of time, I reimbursed all the loans required on the closing eve and the previous ones. What a miracle that during the first half of March 2018, work and house were acquired by the grace of God. The rest of March and the beginning of April, I continued to visit my family and attend worship service in Gunnison. As our plan was to move the rest of the family in June, I started looking online for a local place of worship. I saw several churches, but my attention fell on Faith Heights Church, FHC, led by John and Carla Capetto. I clicked on a video, and it was a lady named Candace Peterhans giving her testimony to invite people to church. She said the empty chair was for anyone who heard her testimony. The Spirit told me it would be me who would occupy the empty chair. I told Florence that I was going to attend the worship service at FHC because the Lord led me there. She and the children took advantage of the weekend to come and taste the atmosphere of worship by comparing with RMCM of Gunnison. They appreciated it, but the difference was the number of Christians at FHC that exceeded that of RMCM. I resumed my role of usher sometime after I joined the church. This church applied what was said in Leviticus 25:35, NIV, "If one of your brethren becomes poor and falls into poverty among you, then you shall help him, like a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with you." Later, the 8 months of nursing program was not easy. My mortgage payment was threatened because I was working fewer hours. One Sunday after the service, Pastor John Capetto asked us how we were doing during COVID-19. We told him about the mortgage payment delay, and he said he needed to speak with his team to help us. When we got home, his assistant Dominic informed us over the phone that we had received a donation of $500, which was to go toward the mortgage. We gave him the contact, and the payment was made on their side to our mortgage company. We received the payment of the Valentine's ceremony from Sarah, the responsible for the children at FHC. On the Christmas of 2020, the beloved Galileo told us that he and his wife had a gift for the Baroumbaye family. When we opened the envelope that he brought, it was $300. We have lived miracles after miracles attending FHC on top of all the life-saving teachings from preachers. One thing I did not mention about moving was that Sephora, our oldest daughter, tasted her freedom living alone a year before my Grand Junction project. As she wanted to do the nursing program, I suggested that she could enroll at Colorado Mesa University, CMU, but she refused, arguing that she was going to finish her 4 years at Western State Colorado University, WSCU. She added that she would stay at the university dorm. Her younger brother Khalida, who was going to be a senior at high school, wanted to stay in Gunnison because his track coaches did not want to lose him. Witnessing his repeated success in competitions, WSCU was planning to have him in their team so that he could compete at the college level. As there was no high school dormitory, Jack and Amy, together with Roy and Bev Duncan, suggested this idea to us. They said that Roy and Bev volunteered to host Khalida for a school year. We saw it as a miracle from God. Therefore, Khalida finished the 2018 to 2019 school year by staying with them in the house until his graduation.